Steve.
James, how are you doing? All right?
Yeah, good. That was a cracker of a little intro you just wrote.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you expect more of the same, really.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
With words.
That's literally the first piece of music I've heard from you. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. So, hello, dear listeners, and welcome to the pilot of our podcast. What have we decided to call it, Steve?
We decided to call it Steve's Attic Songs, and then there's a sort of a follow-up bit to it.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister. So it's
Public Autopsy.
Public Autopsy.
Or the Urge to Create.
Yeah.
Catchy title.
Absolutely, yeah.
We can improve on it between now and episode 2. We will.
Well, I think it captures things pretty well. So, I guess in this first pilot, we're just going to give you an idea of who we are, of what we want to do, how we're going to do it. So, with that, I'm going to ask you, Steve, what exactly are we going to be doing in this podcast series?
Yeah, the bare facts of it are that I've agreed, perhaps foolishly, to write 10 original songs in the year, which will be critiqued in 10 podcasts. And then when you add this podcast on at the front, and then probably a final podcast at the end, that'll be 12 episodes, so it's going to last a year. So these songs are going to be completely original and basically written under pressure, just because, I suppose, we thought it might be a good idea to put some jeopardy in my life, as if there isn't enough.
But it's going to be more than just that, right? I mean, we're going to have experts in, to listen to your creations, the results of your urges. We'll have a wide variety of different experts examining different aspects of what you're doing. And will you be playing this music live to these people?
No, I will essentially produce a song to the best of my ability in the time that I have, and it will be played fresh to the reviewers, of which I'm one, you're one, and then any special guests we have. And they review it as part of the podcast, and then I get my knuckles rapped for being average, and then I get hopefully some advice on how to improve, and I go away and we do it all again the next month. Hopefully
it's going to be more than just that. We'll be learning about your creative process and hopefully unearthing maybe deeper things. I'm hoping to understand the creative process. I mean, this is
arguably more interesting than the song products themselves. Is why I do it and how I do it, and it was a question that I couldn't answer when we were dreaming up this idea in the pub, and we figured it might be a good way of finding out an answer and getting some help to find out that answer, if indeed we even need an answer. Nevertheless, we decided to do that.
The journey will be the fun. So these urges that we're going to be autopsying, Steve. We were talking about your creative process. Where do you create?
Where?
Yeah, where? Do you have a special place?
I create here in this wonderful and bijou attic with my friend the fridge and my friend the seagull who walks around on the roof when I'm recording, and we also have a freezer and the road outside. There's a couple of guitars in here as well.
Some paint as well. There's
some graffiti,
some bin bags,
lots of cables,
suspicious looking things. Is it just us up here, or are there other people?
Next door have bedrooms the other side of that wall, but they, as far as I know, very rarely use those bedrooms. So when sometimes I do crank up the guitar, and they've never once complained. So as far as I'm concerned, anything goes in that respect. But no, it's just us two, and any special guests we bring up. We've got room for a third seat. We probably haven't got room for a fourth. That said, unless we get the futon out.
There's standing room,
Aye.
Or crouching room. What type of music will you be composing? Do you have a specific style?
I think I do have a style. It might just be down to the limitations that I have in this studio, that I do things in a certain order. But in terms of genre, I pull on anything from the 1920s to the 2020s. So there's jazz right up to like some rap, some hip hop, But the core of my influences will be rock, pop, and punk. So that should age me if anyone needs to go away and work that out. My formative years, I was 15 when punk broke, so you can probably make your own conclusions as to what I was listening to before and after that.
Right, so this is not going to be a boy band, or...
I might write a ballad. I do like a good ballad, particularly I do like duets and harmonies, and again that's something that sometimes I challenge myself to write a duet. So
a cappella then.
See, the problem with a cappella is I have to sing all the parts, and as we will quickly learn in this process, my voice is very limited to barely two low quality octaves, and that includes my falsetto. So it's not my strong suit, I would say, a cappella.
Okay.
I could use the seagull, of course, for some of the parts.
The seagull and the fridge.
Yeah, I think they'd do better than me.
I think this.
And as we speak, the pigeon is tapping on the glass.
There we go.
Look at that.
That was an audition. That's what
and
that was.
It actually chirped. It almost auditioned for an a cappella. Yeah, part.
Steve, do you have any previous experience writing music?
No. I've always, as we sort of touched on, I always created sometimes novels, fiction, poetry, and I've always written on and off songs, most of which have sort of long since lost to the ether. But I'm not a semi-professional songwriter or anything like that. I've got no connections to the music industry. I don't have a back catalogue of things that I'm just going to sort of rehash for this. So in short, no.
So all original pieces.
It'll all be original pieces. I did once submit a couple of original songs to some agency for review, and they said, well, frankly, that they were bland and average. So the only way is up, really.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to compare the first piece with the last piece and see if there's any kind of progression.
I'm quite excited about that aspect of it. Well aware that I could peak too soon. I want to. I guess at the end of the day, I want to plot the scores and see whether I improve or whether it's purely random. Whether our process of doing this has actually had any visible benefit at all, statistically speaking, but based on the subjective scores that we'll give the songs. Who knows? Who knows? I could peak too soon and write a banger in month one, and then that'll be it. The difficult second album and all that.
Well, of course, you'd have to listen to all of the episodes to follow, or just the last one, of course. Yeah, that's
what, to hear me crying
with joy. With joy. Steve, do you have a creative process? Is there something that you do? Do you go for a run? I know that some people just take lots of drugs. There's lots of ways of getting to the musical nirvana or creative nirvana. What's yours?
None of the former. I think I don't really know. If I'm brutally honest, I do know that I set aside time to come up and muse, but apart from that, it's not like I can say, I woke up in the morning and the tune was there, or I start with the lyrics first, or I sit down at the piano and drink half a bottle of scotch. It varies from song to song. Sometimes I just don't know. I don't think there's a pattern. I'm sort of, if there is a pattern, hopefully we'll find out what that is, and maybe listeners can help us work out what that is if I do have a pattern. But I don't know.
I've got a small insight. I mean, I've known you for the last 4 years. The pattern that I have seen is that you commit. When you commit to create something, you go all the way to the end of it. I mean, I love creating stuff, but I'm a starter, so I've got lots and lots of projects. I have a graveyard of projects of things, but I never complete, or I complete very, very few of them. You complete all of yours, so there's a commitment there, and I think that's part of the process.
You're right in the sense that I am definitely a finisher, but that said, I throw stuff away But that in itself is a finishing. I say, right, that is not good enough. A decision. I take the decision, and I don't work on that anymore. So yes, I think that is part of my nature. But I'm not an expert musician in any way. So I do have to work at this. I'm not someone who sits down and bashes out a tune in an original melody in 10 minutes. That's not me.
How do you feel about that, the whole process?
Or
the project, more specifically?
Yeah, I'm nervous as hell, actually, because, I don't write to order. And the idea of actually writing one reasonably presentable tune each month is going to be a jeopardy, and it could be one of the shortest podcasts ever if I can't actually produce at that rate. So nervous as hell. I have no idea. As I say, I don't have all the songs written or anything like that. I have. It's a complete. It's if it was high diving, it would be what they call a high tariff podcast from my perspective, in that it's a high degree of difficulty. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I could end up belly flopping.
Well, I guess that's part of the charm. Maybe is there's going to be a bit of Schadenfreude. Hopefully, it'll be all upside, but we'll have to wait and see. We've got an interesting lineup of experts.
Yeah, who are these people? I don't know any of these people. Strangers in my attic telling me that I need to
telling you suck. No, I don't. I think there's going to be some very positive things. We have someone who's a professional singer and a voice expert.
Dear God.
We've got someone who's a coach, who's an author and coaches people in the creative process. We've got someone who loves reggae music.
We've got Bob. We've got Bob, haven't
Bob.
we? Who lives nearby, and we met in the pub.
And we've got potential musicians and creators, and we're trying to get a mental health specialist as well, because
great.
I think yeah, well, after everything you've told me, and I've had a look around up here as well, I think that might be.
Is he going to charge by the hour? Can we get him free?
Maybe you should give him that coat in the corner there. They may never speak of it again.
Actually, that is what I wear when it's really cold.
Really?
That was bought. It was bought for me for a Christmas present, and clearly I can't wear that outside.
You're right. I need sunglasses inside.
It is very, very warm.
It looks very warm. It looks like it took a family of alpacas to create that.
A fanny of alpacas. Is that the collective? Is that the collective noun for alpacas?
Alpaki.
So I do wear that when it's freezing up here, which it will be, by the way. And we should warn our guests about that. They do need the fingerless gloves and the scarves
and thermal underwear up here,
and a good thermos.
I hope you write good dance music, because I think that's going to be the only way we can actually get warm up here, is to have a boogie.
Well, that's the other thing. I'm going to commit to dance to every track I present. So we're going to wheel everybody up here.
You will be committed if you do that.
We're going to wheel everybody up here. I'm going to say, this is my track. Say, do your worst with it, and I'm going to perform a short dance act whilst it's playing.
A polka, a waltz, maybe.
I don't know. It's going to be
pop polka.
No, it's going to be sort of freeform. I think there's a limited amount of space up here, and I know some of the floorboards over there are creaky, so it's going to be free form,
dancing on the spot,
but quite on the spot, I think.
Well, thanks, Steve. That's given me a better idea of what we're going to be doing up here over the next year. I'm hoping personally to learn more about the creative process, clearly get to know you better. I'm hoping to have a lot more fun as well, just with these random experts.
I'm hoping to write a banger. I'm hoping to write a banger that everybody loves, and they can forget my name as long as I see them absolutely in rapture to that banger at some public event in the future. My life will be complete.
Excellent. Well, I'm very much looking forward to hearing your first offering.
Well, thank you very much. I better go away and write it then.
Steve. Yeah, about bloody time.
I'll sort of see you up here in about a month's time with I think Bob's up first, isn't it? We can get We're going to get Bob to come in to listen to that, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yes.
How bonkers is that?